and practical solutions to the problems of international security throughout the globe. It is the public sector complement. This series is the public sector complement, if you will, to our Captains of Industry series, at which we hear business executives' perspectives on the public interests their companies serve and the public policies that shape their markets. The most recent previous event in this series was an address just last month by Philip Dunn, the United Kingdom's Minister for Defense Equipment Support and Technology. He made an address entitled Securing Operational Superiority Through Defense Innovation. And the series continues as soon as next week, when on the 14th of January, beginning at 4:30, the Secretary of the U.S. Air Force, Deborah James, will be making an address entitled Bending the Cost Curve. Please come back for that. I can hardly think of a more suitable suite of government executives to serve up some strategic thinking and practical solutions for government's stewardship of the defense industry and defense industrial resources more generally than the service acquisition executives of the three military departments. And you can rest assured that following Air Force Assistant Secretary Bill LaPlante's address here as part of this series last June, followed today by Sean Stackley's, the pressure is now on me and the Army to produce Assistant Secretary Heidi Shyu at some point during the year, which we'll be working to do. Now, I'd like to welcome General Arun Panaro. The last time I welcomed General Arun Panaro to the stage, he nearly pushed me off it before I could say some nice things about him. So it will suffice to say, welcome General Panaro, who's going to introduce Sean Stackley. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you very much. And Sean is not going to let me give more than a 30-second introduction to him, so I'm going to use my time to talk about some of the major leadership changes that we're going to see in the department that Sean will be working with. And before I do that, we have the unexpected privilege and pleasure of having with us today in the audience the former chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, the former Secretary of the Navy, a former naval combatant in World War II, a Marine in the Korean War, Chairman John Warner, Senator John Warner. And he's flanked by another former Secretary of the Navy and head of NASA and former chairman of the National Defense Industrial Association, the Honorable Sean O'Keefe. And although we didn't know you were coming, Senator Warner, I wore my Navy tie, and Sean Stackley wore his Marine tie, so we have your Navy Marine Corps team here in presence. And so we're thrilled to have John Warner, Sean O'Keefe. John Warner was part of every major positive change that has happened to our Department of Defense and our government.